The purpose of this space is to create a very safe environment for people to share a moment of their lives.
Located one block north of St. Paul's Hospital, Downtown Denture Center features complete and partial teeth restoration options. With 35 years experience, Anthony Chung offers mobile services and emergency repair consultation 24 hours a day. Downtown Denture Center, just off Nelson at 970 Burrard in the lobby of the Electra Building.
My name is Fender Benavides from Drive Motors in Quillam, serving the Filipino community for the past 4 years. Whether you're looking for a minivan, car, truck, SUV, or a crossover, guaranteed financing available. I am here to help. Salamat po.
Cowley & Company, car accident lawyers representing personal injury and disability victims in the Lower Mainland. A former chiropractor, Lee Cowley has more than 20 years' experience as an attorney in BC. Locations include Abbotsford and Burnaby, with a head office in Surrey, on 104 Avenue at 138th Street.
Foodie World presents Philippine Street, featuring a large selection of Filipino foods. From imported non-perishable products to both packaged seafood and locally caught and very much alive. Foodie World is 75,000 square feet of worldly groceries situated in North Richmond.
All the stories that you're going to hear tonight are personal in nature, some of which can encroach on dark topics as addiction, abuse, self-harm, and you may get triggered by them. And if you do, there's a beautiful lounge to the back of XY that you can go down, chill out, get your composure. When you're ready, you can come and join us. I grew up in a corner store, and I had access to all the candy on the planet. Now, after going through that, I can look at anything with sugar, and it actually leaves a bitter taste in my mouth. I'm the guy now that goes and picks up a San Pellegrino and looks at the label and it's like, oh. And this is a true story. When I started doing the workouts, I would treat myself. Okay, you ran 10K, you worked out. Okay, you have 2 cold grapefruit San Pellegrinos. I'd pound them back, felt great. And after a month, I couldn't figure out why I wasn't losing any weight. Well, each one of those have 48 grams of sugar. And I didn't know that that's the equivalent of 48 packs of sugar. So I took 48 packs of sugar and laid it all out, then put 48 more and put it together. I'm like, that's really disgusting. So from letting go of the sugar, the foods, the alcohol, all the substances that gateway opens, I was given a little gift this weekend when I was on my way to the wedding, where my sister picked us all up, and I got to have a little sibling bonding moment in the car, driving to the ferry and driving, on the ferry and all that other stuff. And it was nice to feel. I was aware that I could feel. I could sit there, and my sister said the craziest thing. She's pregnant with her first son, and she goes, I can't eat that because it has ham in it. I'm like, you eat ham all the time, but it's sliced. I'm like, so if I gave you the whole ham, you could eat the whole ham then, right? Because it's not sliced. She goes, that's not what I meant. But we just erupted in laughter and say, oh, can you eat sliced cheese then, or do you want the whole brick of cheese? And we're all making fun of each other, and I haven't laughed that hard. And I actually felt it, like I couldn't feel it in my belly. I don't remember the last time I felt it that deep. And here we are having a bonding moment, acknowledging that. And what really helped me was compose myself for a second. But my little brother actually saying, it's like, if it wasn't for you going through all the stuff that you're going through and posting it all up, I wouldn't have done this. And then my other sister goes, yeah, and I'm going to go do this. I do boot camp because you did that, and I don't want you to show off because I want to outdo you. And it's like, it's all these little things that I never heard. And I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to keep staring 2 feet ahead and plod my way. But that moment made me realize that my journey actually has an effect on other people. And through laughter and all that, which culminated in that moment where I'm sitting there trying to prove a point to my cousin, that he's lucky, his son's lucky that I stopped drinking, it really made me reflect on how far I've come. And I could only appreciate that moment because I'd done the work to stand back and look. It's like, you know what? You can say that. What are you going to do with this moment that's stuck right in front of you? Are you just going to go and brush it off, which is standard traditional Chinese behavior? Take a compliment and brush it off, or am I going to take it and actually go, thank you, and embody it? And I would have to say it's the first time I actually embodied a compliment, especially from my siblings. But that moment was a gift, and our next speaker was presented with a very, very similar gift. And again, you had to view it in the correct light in order to make it the moment that it was. So I invite Keri Lee to the stage. Keri-Anne. I knew it. I had a 50-50 shot. It's Mary Lee, Keri-Anne. Keri-Anne Livingstone to the stage.
Okay. That is so perfect. Hi, everybody. I brought props. Thank you for having me. That's just going to sit right there. Thank you for having me. And I need to move this because I can't trust myself that I won't get so excited that I'm going to knock it over. I just realized the last time I was on stage, I actually kind of blanked when the lights went on, and I froze because I didn't know exactly what I was going to say. And apparently I said, it's a good thing that I called my work daring to suck because I could take a shit on stage and be like, ta-da! And then I snapped to it, and everything was okay. So don't worry, I'm not going to take a shit on stage. And I didn't remember saying it, but I remember saying it now. Okay, so that's what that feels like. So anyway, as I work out the kinks here, being back on stage and not shitting on the stage, I'm really grateful to be here. And I brought some props. And we're going to tell a story. And I do feel a little bit like that Sesame Street. One of these things is doing its own thing. Because everyone told some very powerful stories. Mine does not feel super powerful. But I know that it is, in a way. Because I do believe, in relation to the soul and all that ethereal, amazing stuff, that our soul does invite people and situations into our lives to grow us and teach us. It also does that to show us when we have grown and when we have learned. And so this past Christmas, I received the ladder for me and this beautiful body that I get to call home. So picture this, it's Christmas Eve, and I'm in my bedroom, my husband and I are in my bedroom, getting ready to do our traditional Christmas PJ night. And my mother-in-law is here from Australia, which is very exciting. This is my mother-in-law, just so you know. And she is represented by this beautifully quilted patchwork bag because she made it. And it represents my mother-in-law because I challenge anyone to find a stitch out of place. She is meticulous, and she's a wonderful woman, and I love her dearly. And I was very excited that she was spending Christmas with us, because this tradition, normally we would all buy each other jammies, and this year I'm like, I'm gonna buy all matching jammies. My mother-in-law will love this. She loves order. And she loves anything to do with keeping up with the Joneses as well. She loves anything that resembles an American tradition. So I just pictured it, we're gonna have matching jammies. Some of them say like, what the elf? And another one says like, snow job. And I'm really excited. I've bought them all, I've got it all handled, and I'm like pulling them up from under the bed. I'm like, we're gonna do jammies. And my husband walks in, goes into our closet and walks out with super excited. He's like, let's go. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I got your jammies. I'm like, I got the jammies. He's like, well, and of course it's like, what? I'm like, I got all the jammies. I'm like, they're all this, and like, they have a plan. And all of a sudden I realize I am my mother-in-law for like 30 seconds. And I'm like, we have a plan. That's not the plan. You're not supposed to go. Instead of being like, oh, you bought me jammies. That's really nice and romantic. And before you go thinking it was like some Richard Gere Pretty Woman moment where the dress is laid out, I actually almost thought he was taking the recycling out because he wrapped my jammies in newsprint, which I love him. And he was so friggin' excited about these jammies, I could not even fathom to be like, oh my God, I thought you were taking the recycling out. So he's like, come on, let's go. And I'm like, he's not really that excitable normally. So I'm like, there's something going on with these jammies. And so I'm like, all right, okay. And I'm trying to be cool, like not disappointed that like, oh, my little plan with the marching jammies is not going to work. But anyway, we go out and everybody's like, jammies. We sound like real weirdos actually when I'm saying that right now. We do have a life. But anyway, we start unwrapping the jammies and they're like, woo, what the elf, snow job, pizza, jammies, whatever. And everyone's like super excited. And my husband's like, open your jammies. And I'm like, what is up with these newspaper wrapped jammies? And I'm like, all right. So I started to open the jammies and now I understand. My husband has been paying attention that every time I see a onesie, I'm like, oh, I want a onesie. I want a unicorn onesie. I want a unicorn onesie. He's been paying attention. He buys me a fluffy pair of unicorn jammies. And I'm like, I get it. I'm like, and he's just like, you can tell, he's just like, I'm this right here. This guy right here, nailed it. Because my husband has a notorious past of like thinking he's nailed it and then putting his size 10s like right in his mouth. And so I'm watching him and he's just like, right, these are, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so amazing. My mother-in-law's like, this is so great. Everyone's having a great time. And then I look at them and I'm like, I get this wash of like, oh, they're looking at the size. Cause he made that journey solo. He didn't know what size I was. And so God love my husband. That's brave and romantic in itself. Because actually it's kind of funny. I was thinking about this like 5 years before. He knew what size I was because I was like 60 pounds lighter, and every time I went into my closet, I would literally yell out, I'm a size 10! And then, I'm a size 8! So he always knew what size I was. And women don't go the other way. I'm a size 12! I'm a 16! So he's flying blind. So he's blind in this decision, and I'm aware of that, and I'm like, okay, and I'm trying to match his enthusiasm because the jammies are there in my face. And I'm like, oh, and I look at it's like staring right at me, the label. And I'm like, it says XL. And I'm like, was that a Walmart XL? Or like a Le Chateau XL? Which I didn't say. I'm like, here we are. It's happening. It's happening. Oh my God, Bridesmaids. Sorry, flashback. It's happening. Anybody know what I'm talking about? That's exactly where I was with this experience. So I'm like, oh my God. Daring to Suck meets radical acceptance right here in my life. And so I'm like, all right, so okay, all right, we're doing this. Me and my soul, I'm like, we're doing this. This is happening right now. And they're like, try it on. My kids are, I'm like, okay. Oh, okay. So I'm like, all right, I'll try these jammies and we're doing this. And I know as soon as I just like let them unfurl. And I'm like, oh, my husband, he was so invested in this pair of jammies, which sounds really weird, I know to say. We're in a good place. The jammies are not going to make or break us. However, it was a good moment for him, and I didn't want to ruin it. So his heart is like out there. And my mother-in-law's like, this is great. And I'm like, you just wait, because I'm about to be your worst nightmare, ma'am. And she doesn't even know it's coming, but I do. I'm like, okay. And I don't know, there was just something different in my body this time. I think in the past, I would have been like, oh no, I'll just try them on later, private, you know. But everyone was on it. I was like, no, this is happening. This is over. That's over. And so I'm like, all right, let's do this. And I go to put on the first foot, and right away, I mean, as soon as they hit the calf, I know we're in trouble. I'm like, so that's touching, snug. But I'm committed, so pull them up to here, and I'm like, oh, gusset, stops. Right here. Gusset, also one of my favorite words. And I'm like, no, we're still in this. So I'm like, I reach down and try to get it over my shoulder, and it's taut. And all of a sudden, I can see their body language shift from like to, what do I do with my hands? Nobody wants. And I'm like, I jonked the last one in, and I just tried to straighten my legs. And I just took a few breaths, and all of a sudden I realized I became the sun because no one wanted to look directly at me because they'd burst into flames. So all of a sudden my mother-in-law just like doesn't know where to put her hands, doesn't want to look at me, and I'm just like, oh, I am her worst nightmare in this moment. She would die if this ever happened to her. Because it's right here, and there is an opening that will not close. So I took the opportunity to just face it. Here it is. Here we are, and everything's going to be okay. And so, of course, I just needed to put them out of their misery. My husband was not looking away because he was disgusted by me. He was devastated that his, once again, size 10s were firmly in the back of his throat. And he's like, oh, what have I done? Have I damaged her for life? Because he's sitting beside his mother, who he knows likes all the order and everything to look really nice. And I'm a big old question mark to her, so, or an opportunity, which is how I like to see it. And so I just start doing like, fat guy in a little coat, my little like dance. I don't know if any of y'all know what I'm talking about, but Chris Farley did this funny little skit, and everyone starts laughing, and all of a sudden my mother-in-law thinks she might actually survive it, so she starts to like make her go, oh, okay, we're all laughing, we're good, is this good, is this okay, have I survived? Because I think she had actually left her body for a few moments, and I was trying to like just let everybody know everything's cool. And one of my kids said, hey, well, I said, well, they're a little snug. And we were all laughing at this point because you just had to, because it's hilarious. And I was like, yeah, a little snug. And one of my kids said, well, Grandma can fix it because Grandma knows how to make stuff. So I'm like, yeah, she can, if you're up for it. And she's like, oh, all of a sudden, Grandma is like in her zone of genius. And she's like, wow. She comes on up, and we're talking about all new racing stripes. I'm like, oh man, the flashier the better. I'm talking sequins. Let's max this baby out. Let's like jack this unicorn up to be extra unicorny. And so she's getting excited. Oh, I could do this. Oh, my patchwork group. And she's lit up like a Christmas tree. And Scott's relieved because his life isn't over. Not that it would be. And all of a sudden, it just became this really awesome family moment where we were all creating and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, like a rainbow gusset. That drew her. She was like, I was like, why not? And she's like, that'd be weird. Unicorn jammas we're talking about. And I'm like, okay, fine, what color do you want? She's like pink? I don't think I want my unicorn vagina to look like a unicorn vagina. So I'm like, anything but pink or rainbow. Or no, I like rainbow, make it rainbow. Anyway, so we all survived that. We went to bed, and there was just really something liberating in that moment for me, because the years leading up to that moment had been pretty tricky for me and my body. A lot of trauma, a lot of adrenaline issues, a lot of things that I was navigating with this sucker. She'd been asked to move through quite a bit. And it was the first time that faced with this, with these moments, with our mess, I was just no longer willing to throw me, my heart, my body under the bus anymore. And it wasn't even an issue. It wasn't even on the table, and that felt like a really liberating moment for me. And I loved that it also created something bigger and bolder for everyone in the room. And I guess what I want to offer you is that when we do face our worst nightmares, when we are literally embodying them, that some beauty can come from that. And I often say to bless the mess and trust the process. And when we do that, we can find our wholeness in the whole mess. And beauty can be made through, even if it's through a pair of pajamas. So I thought I would bring the pair of pajamas that she made and show you what she did. Ta-da! Just give me a second. 1 second. Notice the gusset. It was blue. She chose blue, which is better than pink, because pink would be weird. They fit. I feel like I need reverse stripper music. Does anybody know that tune? Roomy. And an opening that closes. Thank you. Oh, sorry. It is incomplete. Where am I?
Oh, no, this hat.
Oh, no, this one. Do I get to go now?
I have to talk to your mother-in-law. I want one.
Foodie World has 75,000 square feet of imported and domestic products, with a large selection dedicated to our Filipino kababayans. With an in-house butcher, variety of seafood, and produce from around the globe. Open every day until midnight. Foodie World, 1 block east of number 3 Road off Sea Island Way in Richmond. Models are on display at Freeway Mazda. New Mazda sedans, crossovers, and SUVs surround the facility, and fully loaded versions occupy the floor of the showroom. At Freeway Mazda, 154th Street and 104 Avenue in Surrey.
Avalon Surrey Funeral Home can help customize funeral arrangements, offering a wide selection of service enhancements and personalized options, including repatriation. Proudly servicing Burnaby and the entire Fraser Valley, while respecting all religious organizations and cultural groups.
Centrally located in the Richmond Auto Mall since 1984, Richmond Honda features a large selection of Honda-certified pre-owned vehicles. Inside the showroom, Honda's newest models are displayed for viewing, and the dealership is staffed 7 days a week for financial consultation. Located 1 block north of St. Paul's Hospital, Downtown Denture Center features complete and partial teeth restoration options. With 35 years experience, Anthony Chung offers mobile services and emergency repair consultation 24 hours a day. Downtown Denture Center, just off Nelson at 970 Burrard in the lobby of the Electra Building.
All the stories that you're going to hear tonight are personal in nature, some of which can encroach on dark topics as addiction, abuse, self-harm, and you may get triggered by them. And if you do, there's a beautiful lounge to the back of XY that you can go down, chill out, get your composure, and when you're ready, you can come and join us. I couldn't feel anything. I didn't understand that if you numb the pain, you're going to numb the joy. And for a couple of decades, that was the life that I lived until it got to a point where I said enough was enough and something had to change, because the fear of death was a massive motivator. But before that could happen, I had to go and silence a whole bunch of these negative thoughts that were just constantly barking in my head.
Oh, hi, everyone. Hi, so it's my first time speaking here, but I've had the amazing opportunity to speak at all across BC. I was recently crowned Miss British Columbia, which is a very random thing. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't know that still existed either. So when I was 16 years old, I was walking home from school one day and I felt like I hit a wall, like physically hit a wall.
Models are on display at Freeway Mazda. New Mazda sedans, crossovers, and SUVs surround the facility, and fully loaded versions occupy the floor of the showroom. At Freeway Mazda, 154th Street and 104 Avenue in Surrey. Located 1 block north of St. Paul's Hospital, Downtown Denture Center features complete and partial teeth restoration options. With 35 years experience, Anthony Chung offers mobile services and emergency repair consultation 24 hours a day. Downtown Denture Center, just off Nelson at 970 Burrard in the lobby of the Electra Building.
Keri-Anne Company, car accident lawyers representing personal injury and disability victims in the Lower Mainland. A former chiropractor, Lee Cowley has more than 20 years experience as an attorney in BC. Locations include Abbotsford and Burnaby, with a head office in Surrey, on 104 Avenue at 138th Street.
Foodie World presents Philippine Street, featuring a large selection of Filipino foods. From imported non-perishable products to both packaged seafood and locally caught and very much alive. Foodie World is 75,000 square feet of worldly groceries situated in North Richmond.
My name is Fender Benavides from Drive Motors in Quillam, serving the Filipino community for the past 4 years. Whether you're looking for a minivan, car, truck, SUV, or a crossover, guaranteed financing available. I am here to help. Salamat po.